Hello, assignment 5 is a Morse code assignment. In 1836, Samuel Morse built the first working telegraph and sent the first message, "What hath God wrought?" It was sent from Washington to Baltimore. And so Morse code was used. You can see in the description there how Morse code was used. It was a lot of international communication was conducted in Morse code with telegraph lines. It's still used sometimes at sea to send distress signals, and the standard, the sort of the international distress symbol is SOS, which stands for ... dash 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 ... So all of that is interesting, but basically we're gonna create an assignment that translates a Morse code string of dots and dashes into the English equivalent. So there are 3 classes that you need to create. You need to create the data element, which is the tree node class, just a generic tree node. And it's used by the data structure, which is the Morse code tree class. Then the third class is the utility, Morse code utility, Morse code converter. So it calls, it creates and it instantiates the Morse code tree, and then when you enter either code, either a library, either a file, a text file, or you type in a string of dots and dashes, it converts it to English. So, and then there's a static print tree method that we use for testing purposes to make sure that Morse code tree was created correctly. So here's the table for conversion from Morse code to alphabetic letters, and this is only for lowercase. So A is dot dash, for example, B is dash dot dot dot. How do we translate that into a tree? You see the actual tree at the bottom, and the Morse code tree is a level 5 tree. In other words, there's level 0, level 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is 5 levels. How do we traverse the tree? Well, the root node is the null string. We never go there. If the code that we presented, is presented as a single dot, it goes left and it goes to E. So E is represented by a single dot. S is represented by dot dot dot. For example, A is represented by dot dash. T is 1 dash. So a dash goes right, a dot goes left, basically. Now, that's how you figure out an individual letter. The test cases, let's look at this. The test, each letter is separated by a space, and each word is separated by a forward slash. So this represents hello world, and how do I love thee, let me count the ways is this next line. So what do you deliver? Well, same as always, a Word document, a learning experience, a final design, a document zipped up which contains the HTML, the Java doc, and it also contains the other supporting directories. So just go to the doc directory in Eclipse and zip it up. and then the source file, src, which contains the Java files, and finally a screenshot of the Java files in the GitHub repository. Then you should also submit a Morse code a MOS directory with only the Java files. So let's look a little more closely at what we're asking for. There is, for the tree node, there's a Java doc. It's pretty straightforward. The data in two formats: a copy constructor and the constructor provided by a string. And basically that's it. The tree node is contained within the Morse code tree. So here's the Java doc for the Morse code tree. The Morse code tree is instantiated by the Morse code converter utility class. And when it is created, it calls the build tree method. The constructor calls the build tree method. Build tree builds a Morse code tree. Then there are a number of other things that it uses, some that are used by the utility, add node, and so forth. And then the next level up is the Morse code converter.html, and the two methods, convert to English with a file or a string that is the Morse code string. And then print tree, the third file, which returns a string with all the data in LNR order with a space between it. And that's used to test to make sure that you got the right Morse code tree. So here's the string that gets returned. Notice that it has, you can't quite see it here, but there's a space at the root node between J and B, right there. In the LNR traversal, the root would become right between the rightmost child of the left tree and the leftmost child of the right tree. And so you use this method and this string for testing purposes. So here's the output. File that has hello world in it is read in and prints out the string hello world. Now you're provided with the GUI for testing purposes and of course the JUnit test files. So the method that you use to create this project is to look at the document, the assignment document, and comparing with the HTML, the Java doc, create the methods that are required, and then make sure that the JUnit test files compile, because if they don't, it's probably a spelling problem or something like that, or an argument problem. So make sure the HTML, the JUnit test files compile, and then run the JUnit test files and make sure they all succeed. We've provided a couple files that are examples. Daisy says Daisy. Daisy, give me your answer due, something like that.